Hi, good evening. We are glad that you're here. I know there were several people that wanted to be here tonight but couldn't. Just to make it clear, you are on a call for stress and anxiety. I'm Peg Losi, and Melissa Filippi is here, who is going to talk in detail about some tools that would be very helpful for you. This class kind of came out to us while we were at a bridal fair earlier this month, and the people that were coming up to our booth over and over and over again, we dealing with stress. I mean, weddings are a very stressful time. So we talked a lot about a specific oil that we used, and they loved it. So there was several people that wanted to know more about it, as well as know more about how they can deal with stress through marriage, or not marriage, wedding, preparation with their family, their friends, and their soon-to-be spouse. So that is how this class started. So it's going to be short, informative. We will have some tools for you to take away as well. And that's where we're going to go. So Melissa, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of
Sure.
take off?
Yeah, at the bridal fair, these people were coming up and we would say, would you like an oil, for energy or stress? And they kept saying stress. So like Peg said, we were really focusing on that. And I started to kind of discover with some of them, like, I have an anxiety disorder. People would say, I have been diagnosed. And some people would come up and say, I have anxiety. And I would say, what? Do you have anxiety or do you have anxious feelings? Because there is a difference. Like, it's normal for all of us to have anxiety about, if you're being held up by gunpoint, if you don't have anxiety about that, then there's something wrong with you, right? So that is a God-given thing, but it becomes problematic when it's no longer temporary, or the severity is interfering with your life. So if you feel it and you have a stressful situation, that you're normal. If you feel it and you're at home and you're safe and fed and dry and comfortable and you start to have anxiety, that's not typical, right? That's not typical, like what we were given as a a defense to keep alive. That's what anxious feelings actually are. So I have some very quick tips. I'm going to try to go super fast, but give them to you. Things that I talk about. I do psychotherapy with adults now. I've been a social worker for a million years. And now I'm working with adults, and it is a pretty big issue for people. Anxious thoughts, anxious feelings, or the problematic kind where it's diagnosable. So if it is going on at times when it doesn't make sense to you, I'm going to give you some strategies for that. Okay. These will also work if you're just like, I've had some stress in everyday life. Like someone shared with me earlier that, putting up Christmas decorations didn't go well. And these are going to work for that too. So I'm just going to dive right in. If you want to share the first slide.
Sure. All right.
Yeah. So a lot of these are strategies that I share with my clients when we're talking about things and they're having like an acute kind of situation. And everybody has probably heard of mindfulness. And before I knew what mindfulness was, I was like, that sounds weird. But you know what? If you think about your mind being full of things, like especially women, we have this tendency, and if you're a bride watching this, you have a tendency to be like, okay, I've got to, call the caterer, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. Or if you're a teacher or you're working in a school, your mind is full of things, but being mindful is a little bit different. It's being like being present in your body. So I took a strategy that people do a little bit differently, and I'll teach you both things, but it's supposed to be like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just like this one is. But I changed the 5. A lot of people talk about look around the room and find 5 things. And, you know, whether it's 5 red things or 5 different things, but when you do it that way, you get down to the last one, and it's, what do you taste? Something you taste. And sometimes people say, I don't taste anything. And so I say, how does your mouth feel? Well, that is kind of goofy too, because we are already talking about feeling. You might have already crossed that. So I took the first one. You can do it that way, in the way that most people talk about this mindful strategy, but just taking deep breaths. And I'm going to incorporate square breathing, which is a very common calming technique that people use. And square breathing is just simply in and then out, in and then out, so that you created a square. And that kind of allows you just a minute to kind of calm down. But you can do that 5 times. And then you look around the room and you find 5 or 4 things. And I would say pick 4 different textures. If I was starting to have some very anxious feelings, 4 different textures. I see wood, I see glass, I see plastic, you know what I'm saying? I see canvas. So that would be 4 things, but you can do 4 different colors. You can do 4 different anything, 4 things that you see. Then name 3 things that you can feel and touch right now. With this one, you know, yes, you can reach out and touch things, but I like to think about, what do you feel on your body? That's truly grounding you. So like, if you have longer hair, what's on your neck, you can probably feel that. Or you might feel your shirt. Think about your socks. Are they tight? Do you have a tight belt on? So you start to notice what you're feeling on your body rather than reaching out and touching. You can do that with, I would say, one of the things, but really notice what is touching you. You know, like I'm sitting here and I've got my charging cord draped across my shin, and I haven't really thought about it until this moment. So there are things that you're touching that you're not aware of. One of them being, probably most people on this are not standing and watching. So your bottom is touching your chair, and think about it. Does it feel hard? Does it feel soft? Is it slippery? Like if it was a wooden chair? So notice that. 2 things you can hear right now. You can probably hear my voice, and you can probably hear another sound. It might be the lights or the hum of a fan or your heater or air conditioner clicking on. And then 1 thing you can smell. So that can be, you could even just say, well, the air smells like rain, or the air smells like dry, or it doesn't really have a smell, but you just give yourself a moment to kind of think about it and become mindful of it. Okay. I'm ready for the next one. The next strategy that we're going to talk about is using Socratic questioning. And I must have cut off the top of that, because that's what it should say. But when you are noticing a thought that's creating anxiety, sometimes we don't even know. But if you can kind of say, I'm feeling anxious about da, 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 you can ask yourself some Socratic questions. And the one that is probably my favorite is, how true is this? Because what is going on with anxiety is, when that's present, is you're feeling unsafe, right? And sometimes we don't know. I don't really have a thought, but that's what's usually at the root of it. Like, somehow I feel unsafe. And so you can ask yourself any one of these questions. Is this thought that I'm having based on fact or feeling? And then you give yourself the facts. Demand the evidence. Gather all the evidence for whatever it is. Or if you're thinking like, I had a fight with someone and they're mad at me and we're never going to get, along again, and they're going to, shut me out of their life or whatever. And you can ask yourself questions like, do we have a history of being in a relationship? Yes. And demand that evidence. And have we had arguments before? And kind of just like whittle away the feeling and replace it with the evidence of what is true. How true is this feeling? How likely is this fear that I'm having going to come true? And then in the end, if this fear came true, like if somebody's mad at you and what if they don't talk to me through, the next week? Or what if they don't talk to me through Christmas? Is this going to matter in a week? It might, but in a month or a year, I think, you'll have, maybe, if the worst case scenario is that that happened, would it matter in a year? So, so that's called Socratic questioning, demanding the evidence. We can go to the next one. I want to talk about essential oils for stress, because that's what we do. And that's why we came on here, just talking about essential oils. So when I talked about stress versus anxiety, like clinical anxiety, where it's diagnosable because it's so intense and overwhelming and interfering with your normal daily functioning, that's a diagnosable anxiety. I'm not diagnosing anybody, although my license allows me to do that, but I'm just sharing information with you today, that of strategies and things that I have found to work either personally or with clients and friends. So stress is, like I said, temporary. It comes with a situation. It's logical, if you know what that means, because it seems like problematic or anxious, that anxious feelings that are diagnosable as a disorder would be illogical. Like, I'm safe. Remember how we talked about that? So these are for stress. You can use Stress Away. I have it in a roller, and I just roll it on my neck. Of course, I don't have it here. It's on my nightstand, but I have Stress Away in a roller. That's a great one to use. Lavender is a great one to use. You can put any of these oils on your skin. Put a drop on your wrist, which is something that, you're going to be able to smell. And any way that you want to get it into your body, you can put it on your wrist, put it on your temples. And then, of course, you can always just inhale it. And it's going to affect your emotions for the positive very quickly. So Stress Away, lavender, and then Peace and Calming. Peace and Calming is our last oil for stress. And I have it here, but I have so many. And again, it's a really nice calming oil. These are probably my top 3 favorites that I would recommend to people when you're just having a stressful situation. Mm-hmm. Like you have an argument with your spouse, or you're stuck in traffic, or you have technology problems trying to get your video started. We're all like, get an oil, put an oil on, because we apologize for starting late, but that's what was happening, technology issues. So we were all slathering on our lavender, Peace, Calming, and Stress Away. So you can go to the next one. And then this is more what I feel like would be something that I would recommend to people to try for supporting their anxious feelings that maybe aren't as logical. And so frankincense is such a great oil for so many things. But this would be one that I would say, go ahead and put right on to, I'm doing it, but I have my hands too low. I would say, put it right on your chest and over your heart, and breathe it in. This is just a really nice oil. I had a friend who is the one who actually told me, texted me early in the morning, one morning, and said, I'm out of frankincense and this is my oil for anxiety. And I said, boom. She said, it's crazy. And that's where I learned that. And that's what's so great about our oily community here in Shine, is that you can ask questions and learn things, what people are doing. So frankincense, great oil. I put in here tree oils, Idaho blue spruce. If you're wondering what IBS is, it's not irritable bowel syndrome. It's Idaho blue spruce or Northern Lights, black spruce or blue spruce. What is it? Yeah, it's black spruce. Or any of the tree oils really are very grounding. Tree oils are known to just bring emotions down and just settle people down. So I like to put pine around my belly button if I was feeling something. But you know what? I ask people on a regular basis that I meet with, and I don't have a timer, so I apologize. But where do you feel your anxiety? Wherever you experience it. Some people say it's really in my neck, or I feel like I can't breathe. Wherever you feel the stress, go ahead and put an oil on it. Valor is super amazing for helping people get grounded and pulling their emotions together. Hope, you can hear the name. Present time, if your mind is going way down the road and you need to kind of pull back and say, okay, everything's okay, you can pull yourself into present time. Put on some present time, put on your temples, wherever you feel led to do that. Okay.
So good.
Go ahead. One more. Do we have one more?
Yep.
I want to just give you some really quick resources. We have so much more that we could have done, but I recommend iMood the most for people that want to track their moods and see if there's something specific going on. This will like give you a little alert. You look at the phone, pick out how you're feeling, boom, and it tracks how you're feeling. And then after a certain amount of days, you can go ahead and look and see why do I always get anxious around time, and think about that and see what you can do in your life to alter things a little bit to make it better. eMood is very good for bipolar. It's a little bit different. Mood Fit, I think, has probably been recommended as the best overall. My go-to when it's not a clinical issue would be iMood though. Worry Watch is very specific to anxiety. Mind Shift is CBT. I love CBT, but I will be very honest with you. Then that is probably one of the most, my most favorite therapy that I use is cognitive behavior therapy, but I'm not familiar with this app. I put it on there because I've been wanting to look into it. And then Mood Kit, I don't know about it either, but somebody has told me that it's a really good one for stress management. Do I have any more slides?
There.
Okay, yes, I wanted to, in case I felt like I had to have some kind of resource there. If you are ever in crisis, then you can text the word connect to 741-741. And I just wanted to throw that on there for you. There is my website and my phone number if you want to reach out to me. I have someone working on my website for me and said it was done today, and I haven't looked. So it might be, it's Redeeming 13, and it might be ready, or you might get in there and go, this isn't ready. But you can call me or text me if you are looking for an appointment, because I am going to be starting to take clients. I do work on, I only work online. My license is for Illinois only. So thank you. And I really want to recommend one more thing I got to say too, Peg. I'm sorry, I'm going so long.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
You can, I am only talking about Young Living essential oils, and I would not use anything else. And actually, I'm not the expert on why. I mean, I can tell you, but I think Peg's better at this than I am. So I'm going to turn that over to you, if you don't mind.
Sure. Let me just stop that sharing. I think we're all back, right?
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you, Melissa. That was so good. Those resources are fantastic. And so good, I think, for people to have. You had mentioned, and we talked before the class started, about potentially having a resource that they could have. Is this what it was, the slides, or is there something in addition to the slides?
I haven't put it on print yet, but I can. I mean, it would take me.
Or would it be available on your website at some point?
That's a good idea.
Okay. All right. Maybe in your blog on your website. We'll stay tuned for that. Nice. So yeah, so Melissa was talking about oils, and yes, we do only recommend and talk about Young Living essential oils, because their seed to seal, which is the seed all the way to the seal of the product, has strict guidelines. They don't, you talk about organic, it's beyond organic. They have tested it, I don't know, 20 sometimes, the oil itself, and they will not use it if it does not meet their standards. All these oils have frequencies in them, and if they aren't working, then they're selling fake oils or garbage. And that's what you might find in other stores. And what I mean by that is the oil in the bottle, it's 100% that oil. There's no fillers, there's no additives, there's no junk, there's nothing synthetic. You can put these oils on your skin. Some of these oils you can take internally, and obviously diffusing them. I would not recommend, we would not recommend using those store-bought oils from the Target or even Amazon. There's a lot of Young Living oils being sold on Amazon that aren't really the real thing. So you do have to be careful. We buy directly from Young Living, and that's what we recommend. There is an actual website called seedtoseal.com, where you can find out more information about exactly how they process the oils and test them and distill them. And these farms, and Young Living has their own farms. They're owned by Young Living. They have partner farms as well. So they know exactly what's happening from start to finish, which is not, you can't really say that with any other company. So that's why we stick with Young Living. So anything else that you can think of, Melissa?
No, if you want to get oils and you don't have them, how do you want them to do that, Peg? This is
if you don't have oils and you want to get them, you can connect with myself or Melissa. Melissa showed her website. Mine's super easy as well. It's peglosi.com. And you can go right there and find information. You could email me, which would be peglosi@gmail.com, which is super easy as well. And I think that's it. And if you want to learn more, you're welcome to join and you're on Facebook, you're welcome to join our Shine Facebook group. So we do have a Facebook group, which is an educational Facebook group where you can learn all the things Young Living. So, and there's some other support on there as well. We've got a holistic nutritionist that's on there who offers a lot of resources in that direction as well. So yeah.
Thanks, Peg.
All right, so we'll go ahead and I'm going to end this recording, and I will send it out to folks that I know wanted to be on here that weren't able to make it, and then I may just send it on to everybody, just because I think
Great idea.
it's good information.